My mic was on mute.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anyways, I think we should be live on YouTube, and this is probably I think episode 33 of the pod, and our third stream for this season. And yeah, we've finally reached the end. It's game week 38. It's now or never time for most of us. Either it's going to end up in what do you can say? You're going to enjoy the finish, or you're going to regret. Anyways, we'll look at game week 37. I mean, 36 was decent for most of us, those who created, those who had the chunk of players. 37, I think, kind of screwed all of our points, probably, if you didn't have the select players. So, whatever ground you made, you probably lost in 37. Right?
I think that is for you.
It's
I
for
feel.
me, but those, I said very clearly, those who
Mhm.
had the players, it's fine. I know Shiva is
Yeah,
agreeing.
yeah. I think I freed it and I still ended up on the downside because I didn't go Vardy and Madison and Captain Ings, and pretty much that was a red arrow for me. So yeah, but then people that had like one of those two Leicester duos and like Captain Richarlison, I think pretty good, like 90, 100 point scores. That's decent for gaming 37. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Shiva.
mean, for me, 35, 36, 37, all are the same. Like now I'm at rank 35K.
Oh
So
shit. Okay.
really, it's like, even though in general the rank is still quite good, but
Yeah.
where I was, in last 3 weeks, like I've already, even this game week, like I captain Pickford, something, because the leagues which matter to me, now there is nothing left for me, even to chase, because
Yeah.
so many players are common which you cannot sell, so only the captaincy is going to be different. But I mean, that's okay. I had a pretty bad week in 37 as well, but all I'm looking for is having fun in game week 38,
Yeah.
take few hits, chase some points, and then take a much needed break for the after the
And
end of the season.
Shiva, to be honest, Pickford still outscored Ings, so you should be happy.
I mean, actually, if you look at that way, but in hindsight, I'm thinking maybe even if I would have gone with someone like Coutinho, who actually didn't outscore Pickford, still
Mhm.
I would have lived up with myself at this point. Okay, I took some at least
Yeah.
high ceiling player, but
Hmm.
I mean, to be fair, Pickford had last 6 home games where they kept 5 clean sheets, and he
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
scoring
Yes.
pretty good. And
Yes.
he was the one player, in my main leagues, nobody even owned. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to captain a player when nobody even owned, to get that 200% of
Yeah.
points. And yeah, it just ended up being 4 points. But
I think you had Pope as well in that double when he got 20 points. So I know the captaincy reason was
yeah,
slightly inspired by that. Yeah. But I think we'll have to go to Sun Club because he's had a great season. And like his captaincy for the last 3, 4 weeks has been phenomenal. I think this week was KDB. I just saw your team, but still, like he's 490 in the overall ranks. That is phenomenal. One manager that I always look out for, even though my team doesn't do well, is Sun Club this season. So a few words on your season, Sun Club. Yeah.
Been a really good season. I mean, my this is the third season that I'm playing, dedicatedly,
Mm-hmm.
and my best rank so far was 160K. So my target coming into this season was 20K.
Mm.
So I have, crossed the target by a good margin. So I'm happy nevertheless. Last week I ended, the bench boost was really successful. I was around 257 was my rank, and there's been a small drop because I don't have chips.
Yeah.
Captaincy, I wanted to captain Wadi. I in fact went and selected. I just hovering around thinking on it for a bit, and by the time I went to submit, the
Oh,
deadline passed.
that was hard luck.
That's the only regret that I have. But other than that, it's been a very good season. So I brought in Wadi, so that is one reason I got saved a bit. It is not much of a drop. Even though I had Richarlison, I think with my over, every time he scored, my ranks kept going down.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's what he was 106% owned. So even if you thought, okay, you have Richarlison, but if you have not captained him, I mean, there's nothing that affects you.
the
Yeah.
same with Son as well. Like I didn't own him for a long period, and I finally got him. And then Zio was again over 100, and I was Again, hoping him for the blank, but then yeah, he blanked. So Son is one player that I regret not having for a long period of time. Yeah, yes.
So game week 38, the last week. These are the fixtures. All the games are going to play played at the same time. There's going to be full circus and drama everywhere. Goals will galore. Clean sheets will be wiped. So don't expect. I mean, clean sheet. Somebody keeps going to be huge surprise for me because we'll see a lot of high scoring dramas. Two teams that have to play for all. That's I think Leeds and Burnley. There's one team that's still yet to go down. So we don't know how things are
Yeah.
going to go there.
Yes, 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 yeah. And
I
I
mean,
think it's very tough for Leeds, I would say, because Brentford have been pretty good over the last few games, and like the Brentford Leeds rivalry is also is one from the championship over the season, so it's going to be a very good game actually. Yeah,
I mean, not to tone down the excitement of high scoring weeks. I've been like reading it all over. Like I know, like in the past, historically, this has been the high scoring game week, but I don't remember, like last 20 years since I've been watching Premier League. There hasn't been a last game week where so many teams have something to play for. I
yeah,
mean, top four is wide open, title race is wide open, and still like one relegation spot to play. So I think like there are some games like for example Chelsea or Leicester game where which can turn out to be a cricket score, or even the Arsenal one now after Everton are potentially being drunk and still playing that game. But I think the games Man City game, I think it should be pretty low scoring and you can see a clean sheet in there. And same goes with like I think with the Leeds and Burnley game where their survival is on the line. I think those games might be a little tighter than we usually think. But yeah, in general, I think we can expect some huge scores, and I hope we end up on right players, in the games where they.
yes, yes, yes. So I think yeah, that was a very good tweet from FPL strategy. Like as Shiva said, over the years there's been a lot. Always there's been a lot of goals, and there've been always a lot of strange players getting a lot of points. Last season, Fronals was the highest scorer in all of Game Week 38. Nobody expected that. But apart from that, Mane last season was scored 2 goals in a 2-0 win over Palace. I think the winner captained. Mane, and he jumped from 6 or 7 to win it all. So Gaming 38 is always is a good week because every fixture happens together. Like we don't know which player scored. It's all over the place, and that is always a sense of excitement. And of course, the data as well shows that it's going to be high scoring one. So I just looked into the average with this season and just the game week 38 average. So for the last 4 seasons, there's always the game week 38 average for a game being more than 3, which is just it is a clear indicator that we should see a lot of goals, and especially with a lot to play for a lot of teams as well. Yeah. Any thoughts of any other fixtures that we'll have to target this week?
I mean, as I said, like if I look at the fixtures, I think Chelsea fixture is the one that appeals the most to me. Uh, Obviously, they have played on Thursday, so there might be some doubts with the lineups. But Mason Mount not being given a single minute in the midweek, I think
Yeah.
he looks pretty good shout.
Yeah.
Also, now there is no reason why any manager would think about resting players apart from maybe Klopp. So I think they still play with a full strength team, and I think Mason Mount is a really good shout. Watford still have a lot of players missing, plus they are Watford. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea win something like 5 or 6 nil in that game. So if I have to choose three, I would say Chelsea, Watford, Leicester, Southampton. I think that game can be something like 5-4 or 4-3 or something like that, or at least I hope to be, because I don't think any team will hold back.
Yeah.
Style doesn't allow them or their opponents to hold up anyway. So I think that game is going to be exciting as well. Plus, with the Everton safety now, I think Arsenal game is something that can also produce some goals. Arsenal, might want to show something for a lost cause to show something. Okay, we can be back in form next season or something like that. So maybe that. So I mean, I don't know, but Liverpool and Man City for some reason, unless in a half time, unless City are winning
Yeah.
2-0, I don't see Liverpool game going in a mad scoreline. I still expect those two games to be pretty
Yeah,
standard.
I think I agree. Liverpool should play in a little lesser tempo than
Hmm.
they are used to, unless. But Villa's defense, I think they've lost. They lost Konsa as well, so it's gonna be Chambers filling in at centre back. So I think City surely wins it unless in a rare turn of events, I would say. So yeah, yes, but I think the Leicester Southampton could be a huge score, probably 5-3, like Shiva said. I have hopes on that game. Let's see how it goes. Yeah.
And I think like for most people, the game week is going to be decided by the last game we're seeing here, right? Norwich and Spurs, and
Yeah.
obviously that game can be anything. But if you ask me, Norwich are playing their last game, home game in the Premier League, right? They are not going to play Premier League, so I definitely expect them to give a good game.
Hmm.
And again, because I know like Spurs have a historically they have been scoring a lot in last game week, but for this game, let's say they are 1-0 or 2-0 up. I don't think Conte will, say to the players, okay, just go and express yourselves. He will, try to
Yes.
defend it, as he rightly
Hmm.
should. I mean, top four should be the first target. So, uh, at this point, I am not thinking about captaining any of Kane or Son.
Hmm.
So, obviously, I may end up being on the wrong side of it as
Yeah.
last the game weeks I'm seeing, but that's just my thing. I don't think we'll see the big score there. Let's say. So how about you, Sankal? Because you have pretty big decision to make, right? In your team, you have probably chase maybe top 200 or something like that. So what are the teams that you are targeting?
Yeah, two, three, scenarios that I've thought of. Obviously, I'll wait for the team news. For example, Thomas Tuchel today came out and said, I'm going to give a lot of opportunities to the youngsters, to the people who have not played. Now, I was looking at Lukaku, as an option up front, especially with Richarlison pulling back his thigh a bit at the end. And, and the fact that, Everton would be wasted completely is what I expect, drunk is what I'm, expecting. So that's the reason I was thinking of attacking, the Chelsea Watford fixture, but I'm not sure. I'll wait for the last minute, to decide. Last 2, 3, 4 minutes before I, take a call. Other than that, Surya knows that I have, really enjoyed, having Ronaldo when no one keeps him. Some of the weeks that I never understand why people don't go for him, and I've gone for him. I've even captained him, and it has really worked for me this season.
Yeah.
He's been an ultra differential for me, especially in the second half of the season. And I feel, this being the last match of the season, and what I've heard is, you have ETH in the stands watching
Yeah.
the, team. I might go that way if the Lukaku news is not sure, right? If he's not starting, then I also have my eyes on Ronaldo as one player. Leeds Brentford, I expect it to be a high scoring game. I know Leeds will go full out, and at the same time, one of the members of the All About FPL community, Varun, who makes
Yeah.
very interesting graphs, enthusiast FPL. I use it a lot for my decision making. So entire season, but mostly the last 10 matches. And Brentford are the fifth best attacking side over the last 10 matches. So 10 matches for me is a good enough sample to determine the attacking or defensive quality of a team. So I know Brentford is going to attack, and it is the last match for them at home. And
Yeah.
Leeds is known to be a opponent that they like to face, and they have a lot of history. So that's a
Yes.
team that I would like to attack. I used to have Tony, but for some reason, Tony never ends up at the end of opportunities. He's just
Mhm.
given me a assist till I sold him last week when I got Guardian for him. So Tony is not the person I'm looking at, but I'm looking at players like Visa or Mbioma, or these couple of people. If I want to punt, especially when now that I've gone into the Zaha route, I want to get out of the Zaha route again. So these are some of the matches that I'm looking at actually.
I think what you say about Ronaldo is really, really impressive because even when you have Kane, like with Son being in the team, even if Kane scores, Son scores, and Son takes the bonus point. But that's not the case with Ronaldo. Like if he scores, he has three bonus, and it's more or less a double digit for Ronaldo whenever he He scores at least one, and I think he's on 18 goals. Probably if he gets a brace, he gets to 20 league goals. Added motivation for him. So probably, and especially with all of them going Kane, if you have a route to Ronaldo and he hauls, I think nobody in the top five, hardly 5-10 managers would have Ronaldo. And I wish you the
Right.
best if you get Ronaldo and that route works out. Visa is someone that will come in the slides because me and Shinian are talking about ultra differentials for this week. He was the first one that came into our mind that will, yeah, yes.
Yeah, and if you look at the goal difference, Leeds have to win that game, right? I mean, they cannot. Like Burnley can maybe think about keeping it tight and maybe look
Yeah,
at the halftime result, but Leeds
yes.
cannot. They have to go
Yeah,
and.
yeah, yeah. I think Bielsa being attacking has consequences here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even if it's a draw for Burnley and if Leeds don't get a result, Burnley will survive because their goal difference is
Goal
better.
difference.
So,
Yeah.
in simple words, Leeds have to win for them to survive. Yeah.
But Sankalp, you said you're thinking about moving on from Wilf Zaha. I mean, one of the reason I got him in 37 is because he's playing United and watching
I
United
was going to say that.
all season.
I was
That
just
was one of the point. Like I thought maybe one of the game weeks in 37 he'll still blank or he may not even start. But I was confident about this fixture. So I mean, obviously you might turn out to be right. But I mean, I would just think twice before sending a penalty taker attacking a player on the wing who is playing against United. And I think Ralph Ragnick just said a couple of hours back, like we have a lot of injuries too. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah.
we see some youngsters
this.
given
Uh,
game
I
plus.
saw his match with a lot of hope, as Zaha playing, but I saw him playing, wider and wider now. And the player who actually, came into my eyes was Eze, right?
Yeah.
He was
Mm.
superb yesterday, and he was getting into the positions that I normally expect Zaha to take in. Zaha stayed wide, and he, had a lot of things to do. I know the penalty, fear always is there in your minds, but for me, if I have, if I have to go through a route which will give me someone like Ronaldo or Lukaku, and it means sacrificing someone like Zaha, I'll happily sacrifice someone like Zaha
Yeah.
because these players are much more assured for me. If I have to go for a captain, I can actually trust these players with a captain, be it a Lukaku or Ronaldo, compared to someone like Zaha.
Yeah, and talking about Lukaku, so I remember like last season it happening when all the games are kicking off at the same time. Twitter is going to be a weird place to be in just sometime before the deadline because there are going to be some actual leaks which are legit and
That'll be
90% of the other news are going to be like just rumors, people just
generate.
doing it for fun.
There are
So
some accounts you need to mute. There
Yeah,
are
you
some
you you'll get your typical rumors like Kane is not playing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and all.
yeah,
So
yeah.
don't fall for that.
Yes.
They're playing away.
Yeah,
So
because the players like Lukaku, right? Like if there is a news like Lukaku is going to start, I think a lot of managers would take a hit and maybe go Lukaku captain directly. I mean, I can see if the news breaks out that he's starting, I can see his ownership going up quite a bit, and that's I
Yeah.
mean his potential hat trick fixture for him, right? And especially he'll be on the penalties as well. But Havertz being fit again, so not really sure about his start. I really hope that there is no leak out before the deadline because that will make it better. But let's see. I mean, there's always the thing.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think
from
the
what I
Leicester guy Samuel Martin, right? So he usually comes up with team like quite a lot before the deadline, even
correct.
sometimes the day before. So I mean, maybe we'll get some Leicester news.
Yeah. That guy has insider news, but a lot of others rely on the media release, which is 75 minutes before. So it's this for that. And someone commented about Zaha, correct?
Zaha. I'm gonna
He's
put it up
taken
again.
seven this week, seven this season, and he's missed two, so he scored 5 penalties out of seven. There is also fear of him missing.
But if he takes a penalty, he'll probably take against De Gea. So
Yeah. Three United fans slandering United.
no, not slandering. The thing is about Ronaldo. What Sankalp was talking is from our perspective or from mine, as we are biased United fans, right?
Yeah.
We look at it from both the ends. We feel like oh he should score, and then we also feel it's better if he just plays properly. It's
Mm-hmm.
like we're worried at both the ends. But United have been poor this season. We all want the season to end.
Yeah.
and you're playing away at Selhurst Park. Not an easy game. It's a tough ground to play, hostile,
Yes,
and
that's true. Yeah.
uh, United, we know. Ragnick, I think he's bored. United players are in vacation now only. So
If
I
you see
think,
Patrick Vieira, I think he was in pretty bad place last night because obviously the fan attacked him, and plus the way Crystal Palace lost that game, he
yeah,
was not happy. So I'm pretty sure he will go for winning this game. It's not like a last game of season. He will
yeah.
not let his players take it lightly for sure. I definitely expect Sellers Park plus Crystal Palace team to be up for it. I would be surprised if United get even a draw out of it.
Yeah. That I would say the same as well. Yeah.
and Zaha against United, he
Something that I've
different.
noticed during my interaction with United fans, especially with respect to FPL, right? You guys have constantly undermined the team, and because of the performances, but still, you do have some good assets, which I feel the United FPL fans have not used this year.
Yeah.
Mm.
Completely understand. I was sitting and watching Ronaldo score a hat trick without him in my team. So
And then we all had Bruno.
yeah, we have the problem here, Sun Club, is that you don't know how they click together because the formation is not like entirely fixed, the tactics is not entirely fixed. A week Bruno plays really up front, another week he sits at number 6 as CDM. So you never know what, except for Ronaldo, of course. Ronaldo is up front, come what may. But then, yeah, the other cases, it's that watching regularly bias that comes in. Yeah, yes, yeah,
And also like Lukaku and Vardy were not the options in last few game weeks, right? But they are the options now. So I think
yeah,
that also makes it a little bit difficult for others or for us to think about Ronaldo is a good option. Obviously, if let's say if I were on a free hit or for this week, obviously even if I had to go like big at the front, still I would not pick Ronaldo. Not because he cannot score, but just because the other premium strikers have better fixtures. So
The only reason I don't have a second free hit is I wasted one to get Ronaldo in and to captain him. It worked well, but it was a low scoring free hit. But the differential was very good.
So don't say you wasted it, right? You used your second free.
I used it, but I so wish I had it this week. You can have so much fun with it, especially on the last game week.
So I think let's move on to the next segment. Probably we will just look at the whatever press conference updates we got over the course of today, and we'll look at that first. And that first we'll go to Liverpool, and I think Surya, is he there or his screen froze?
Yeah, I think his screen is froze at exact moment when he's drinking something.
So just
Yeah,
to
but
save him,
I
I'll
think
put him
from
off.
the Klopp's presser, it's pretty clear that even if Salah starts, he's not going to play 90, right? So,
Hmm.
like people who have Salah probably should or probably will keep him, but I don't see any of us who are not holding him should go and buy him. Like even though he's playing for a golden boot, I don't think it makes sense because if you look at it, he clearly said that even he doesn't want to take a risk, Salah. So I would expect Salah to be on bench and come up for 30 minutes just to be on a match fit level. But yeah, I mean Salah probably is. It's very odd times in FPL, right? Like last game, home game, Liverpool has something to play for, and you're not talking about Salah. But I think for this game week, Jota and Mane seem to be better option.
Okay, our screen just momentarily went. Next, we go to Conte's press conference. We briefly got something about Kane. People saying, "Oh no, Kane is gone," and then suddenly, "Oh, I'll put Kane." So, what's the latest there?
No,
I think, yeah, sorry, yeah, sorry, Shiva.
yeah, so I think Conte confirmed that he had a little bit of problem, but he should play. He expects him to play, and we all know, right? Like as long as he has one fit leg, he should be all up
Yes,
and playing. So there were some rumors of some of their team members also getting some stomach bug, but I think that turned out to be a rumor.
yeah.
Uh, so he confirmed that there was nothing like that. But yeah, Kane definitely had some issues. But again, like I expect him to play. He cannot miss this game unless even if he has to go for a break after after some time or in a half time, I think he'll still end up playing.
Yeah, I think I think I have to upload Conte because he's very frank whenever he has a press conference, unlike other managers. He was even open about saying Kane will take a penalty even though he knows like Son is chasing. So that's another added information or something that we don't have to have a dilemma in our head saying, okay, Son has just one less goal than Salah, so if a penalty comes, like it's gonna be Son. So he squashed that as well. So and he's also said there is no Romero, so it's gonna be Davinson Sanchez continuing. So
But I think it's safe to assume that that is considering that penalty is game deciding, right? Let's
yeah,
suppose,
correct, of course.
yeah,
Yeah,
if they're 2-0 or 3-0 up and if they get a penalty, obviously Kane would offer it to Son. So
yes,
obviously
yes,
it takes a little bit, that advantage down from
leverage. Yeah,
captaining Son. But
yes,
yeah, definitely.
that's definitely there. Yeah, yes. Okay. I think in regards to City, it was pretty clear that I think both of Walker or Stones will play because last before game week 37, Pep just said Laporta strained little bit, but of course he ended up starting the same with. I firmly believe both of them will start. So City back being at full strength in almost full strength in defense, except Diaz missing. So City should get the job done, or at least I hope, because I don't want Liverpool to win the title. So yeah.
So
Yeah.
so Luka, Dean, Stones, and Walker were ruled out of the season, and now they are suddenly playing. So I don't know why managers hold press conferences.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's the same with Gerard because I remember last week when I wrote the metrics, I clearly mentioned there's like 2 days gap, and I firmly believe Watkins to start, and then people had to bug me about Ings. I wrote about Ings, and then I got Ings, and it became I think there needs to be some transparency amongst managers. The same with Vieira. Vieira never says a lot in the press. Arteta today didn't even mention anything about injuries or player availability. So it's a bit of a give and take for us in terms of the
I
news.
think the easiest solution in these cases would be FPL to change the deadline to kickoff.
Mm, mm.
What happens is press conferences updates to some extent become relevant and also irrelevant because you'll have the team sheets and then you're like, okay, he's not playing, I'll remove him, I'll sub him out. That gives one advantage, but again, if we start with these things, there'll be half the community saying yes, half saying no. So I think let's not
And
dwell into that.
maybe we should have a different episode altogether. What FPL
Yeah, yeah,
students will do.
yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think just to cover the question on City, Gabriel Jesus a hold or a sell. Yeah. So
It could be Jesus' last game too, right? I think he's looking to leave. So we don't
I
know
think
how.
he's
Because it is a title deciding game, I think Pep will make a decision based on what he thinks is the best team. So that factor won't come into picture like it's his last game. Uh, so I mean, if you have him, probably you should not waste a transfer on selling
yes.
him. But uh, it's like it's anybody's guess, right? Is as good as Pep. Like, unless you know something or you get some news, I think
Yeah,
there's no reason
It's
why.
actually Ederson and then the 10 players for
Yeah.
Man City.
I
Yeah.
would
So
say 8 million plus. You have options like Wadi, especially Wadi, if you don't have,
yeah,
because he's for sure starting, and
starting.
they're
Yeah.
going with Southampton at home, right?
Hmm.
So you have options with a small, modification. I would rather jump out, and
Hmm.
attack it.
Yeah. I
If
think
free transfer, yes, but I think Jesus is not. Yeah, if you have
when
free
yeah,
money in the bank, and
especially if he doesn't have Kane or Wadi, I think at least one of them is needed. Considering the price range of Jesus, yeah, but uh, yeah, it ultimately depends on like the other 10 players that he has as well. Yeah, yeah. This is one quote from Tuchel. He hasn't had a press conference today because they played last night, and this is slightly not. Uh, Convincing in terms of an FPL perspective, because he says he'll probably give minutes to Saul, Barkley, Malangsar, and all, all of these players. Saul, of course, going back to Atletico's loan ends. So I think Mount is a firm start. He didn't play any minutes, so any other second attacker that we can take a punt on, like Lukaku. Pulisic has played for 3-4 games on the trot. Even Harvard, he played like 7-8 minutes last night. So, but I'm not convinced after reading this. You might never know, but I think Mount, James, Alonso, I think it's a stable three. I expect these three to at least start regardless of the other players. My thoughts, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, other players probably will get a game, right? But I don't see him starting, entirely second
Mm.
string squad. So I
Mm.
think, yeah, you said it right. Maybe Havertz might come into the team in place of Pulisic, maybe, or maybe he can start likes of Barkley or even Sar at the left.
Yeah, I
Center,
think Sar
center.
has played left back
Mm.
sometimes in the preseason, so there's that. And there's an interesting one that under their potential new owner, they have never won a game.
Yeah.
So they have not won, they have not impressed their new owner so far. So he's been to close to 6-7 games, and everything has been a draw or a loss. With the Wolves one at the dead, they were 2-0 up, and then they drew 2-2. So Watford is their last chance this season to impress their incoming owner as well. Yeah, yes. Something that I noticed. Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So Newcastle last. I mean, Wilson might do Wilson things. He might score a
Yeah.
brace. Burnley will go down. All drama might happen. So
Yeah, I think quickly summing up the other press conferences, I sat and went through all of them while doing the blog. So Ranik basically said he has no clue who's there, who's not, because few players left training early. So that United 11 is a puzzle bar De Gea and Ronaldo. Lampard was frank to say that players that have not had an opportunity will start. So that's going to be rotation. So
so
I
when
would
the week might finally play or what?
sorry who
When the week might finally start.
he might Delali might start. So I think if you had Arsenal as well, it's like of course Arsenal have not been informed last few games, but if if you have Saka and KT, I think I would definitely start and not sell them because Everton will of course rotate quite heavily is what I feel. Sankalp, your thoughts on that game, Everton Arsenal?
I'm not very, optimistic. Primarily because I feel that the team is completely tired now. It's the same exercise that plays for us, right?
Yeah.
And especially players like Saka, you can see, really tired. If I have to pick one, I would actually go for Eddie because I feel, the way Everton plays, the
Hmm.
central striker can score a lot of goals compared to someone like Saka. And also the fact that, midfield, we still have a lot of options of I might, play around, say, upgrade Saka to someone like Mount, but keep someone like Eddie. That is my
Yeah.
current thoughts. But I also have both the players in my team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Eddie is definitely a good hold because I also noticed Everton to concede a lot through their central areas, I think. And he's also fairly playing recently. So the factor of fatigue or tiredness doesn't come when you talk about NKD as much it does for someone like Saka. So Saka to Mount is a good route. So yeah. And in terms of other comments, I think Wood might miss out, which means Wilson starts for Newcastle. So I don't know how to say anything out of that because Wilson again is one of the draw picks that you had over the season.
How harsh it would be if he sends Burnley down?
I mean,
That
I
that
think
that's
Surya. What happened to Surya's screen?
I think he's froze again.
That's the problem. The problem is the display. This content is coming from Surya's end. So if that's out, then the screen
So
will go off.
I
So
think
I
these
think
were
he's back. He's
the
back. He's back.
yeah.
He's
I
back.
think we had
And
that table. We can talk about that. Oh, that table is also gone now.
yeah, it's back.
It's back.
yeah sorry. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, this gone to Mount. We'll actually start by looking initially at. I think there were few numbers that we had in the previous slides that we skipped. That was, I think, the worst defense over the last 6 games and the best attacks with XG. So we'll just quickly look at that because we are basically covering up game week 38 now. So these are the teams that have probably the worst defense numbers over the last 6 games. So that would probably ease up your decision making if you look at the numbers.
I think it's the same picture that you've spoken so far. It's again Spurs versus Norwich, Chelsea versus Watford. Like Shiva said, Palace versus United is a game that could see goals. Like again, Liverpool play Wolves, Brentford play Leeds, and Southampton play Leicester. So probably most of the teams that we covered. In terms of attack, it's again. Uh, in terms of attack, it's again City, Chelsea, Liverpool, like yeah, the traditional ones that ranks already for XG. Brighton maybe because they've been good in the last few weeks, like, but not a lot of double game weeks for them. So players like Trossard, Welbeck, they've all been good, but not spoken enough. It's because of course they have not had doubles. So I think we could just run through
Yeah,
this.
I think West Ham and Brighton game. Just quick word on that. I think I don't think that game is being paid much attention, but
Yes.
that game can also be high scoring because both teams are well placed and they're
Yeah,
like teams. Their managers have a quite good expectation and quite good standards from their team.
Hmm.
So I think both teams will go there and try to express themselves, and I
yes,
can see that game high scoring as well. So if you are on a free hit and if you want to take a odd punt or differential, I
yeah,
think the likes of Trossard or even Jared Bowen,
yeah,
he's in fantastic form. So won't be a bad shout.
You
yes.
missed the XG man. The XG man over the last few weeks from Brighton.
It's Welbeck. I think he's we just saw numbers before jumping in, so yeah, unfair on Shiva and Sankalp. But yeah, I think after Kane and Richarlison, Welbeck is the third highest striker with XG. So he might be a good punt. And West Ham just need a draw if United don't win against Palace to finish sixth and get Europa. So West Ham have the added motivation of playing in Europa. They reached till semis this season, so they might want another shot at the competition probably. So West Ham have everything to play for, and that could also give us an option in terms of Bowen that we could target. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I'll just skip through this. Yeah. So yeah, I think let's talk about players to target. So one thing that struck my eyes while doing the numbers was Mount has 22 goal contributions this season, like 11 goals, 11 assists, and 19 of it has come against teams outside the top six, the traditional top six. So he is basically a flat track bully. So uh, the Norwich game comes to my mind. 24 points. The Howard's gate probably better to put it that way. So yeah. So Mount without didn't start as well last night. So I feel he's a very good captaincy shout. He's guaranteed to get a return or two. In my opinion, so the first player that I would put forward as a player to target is Mount, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
Son, obviously, this table is like pretty much what we have been seeing last couple of weeks. Even though last game week Son disappointed all of us, but I think that was the game where everybody got in Son just to make sure that they don't see any more red arrows. So like his points were just of no use to anyone, and he didn't get any points either. So in this game week, I think his ownership is going to be definitely not close to 200, but I think around 150 definitely can be his effective ownership. So yeah, again, if you just own him, it might be a case where him scoring goals might see your arrow becoming red and red. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
but obviously, I mean, he's a good captain shot as well. Salah, obviously, when he plays, he will have these good attacking numbers, and obviously, if you have him, there is I don't think that there is a case to sell him unless you get some news. But given the injury news, given the important game against Real Madrid, what I would think is he won't start probably, and Klopp will look at the City result at the halftime, and only if it's required, he may bring Salah on. So that's what I think. But Raheem Sterling, I mean, his numbers are obviously good, and he has burned me twice this season. Once on a free hit, so I'm for sure not buying him. But he has looked good in last couple of games. So you never know what Pep might. So any of these players like you guys are targeting. I mean, I'm thinking about Vardy and Mount, but
Yeah,
the other.
I have Mount, so but then I don't have Son, so I thought of doing Salah to Son, because I firmly believe Salah wouldn't start, and that is news. We could get Liverpool news because there's this big Twitter account called like Spion Cop. He
Mm,
Yes.
basically very reliable in terms of team news. He doesn't give the entire lineup, but he tells like which popular one starts and which doesn't. So if like Salah definitely doesn't guarantees, we all know he doesn't, but just the confirmation bias. I think I would do Salah to Son, but I also add my eyes on Salah to Mane because if Salah doesn't play, Mane was not even in the team, in the bench against Southampton. So, and like Mane has a good record of finishing the his good record in Gameweek 30 is good. Like few seasons back against it was against Wolves as well, so he scored a brace. So uh, he's still 5% owned. So I have Kane. So my thoughts like, okay, if Son burns me once again for the final time this season, so be it. Just go differential, probably get Mane in. So that's my thought of two players to target. Yeah.
There are two players that I am looking at. One, who are playing against the old teams. One is, Jota, right, who's playing against Wolves, and I feel he'll do well, especially if Salah is not playing. I think those three are very mobile, very flexible. You don't know where you will get your points, that's for sure. You don't know whether Mane scores or Jota scores or Diaz scores, but they play very well. They are very flexible and very dynamic as a trio up front. And the other person that I was thinking of yesterday night was Grealish. I feel that last couple of games Grealish has been playing really well, and now he's up against Aston Villa, for the title itself. I somehow, the vibes are that he will do something in this match. So these are the two people I'm just looking at, thinking of.
Yeah, I think Grealish is a good shot. I noticed his numbers. I think against West Ham is really good. Like one City attacker that was really really good was Grealish. I think post Real Madrid that Madrid match was not good for Grealish. He missed I think two big chances. So, but then he's come back out of that game in a really good fashion. Villa fans actually jeered him, booed him like when he moved. So he might take that seriously. You never know because there's all sorts of conspiracy that if Gerrard wins
For
it,
me,
Liverpool, yeah, or if
for me, when you go for a City attacker, he just needs to start. He's been starting the last three matches. So if he starts, I have a fair bit of confidence that he starts this one as well. After that, with a City attacker, it's a good punt. It's always a good punt, right?
And I don't see any defenders here, but I think even if the last game we can see a lot of clean sheet wipeouts, I still think there are quite a lot of good defenders, who might have higher upside than some of these attackers. Like Trent and Robbo, obviously, like we know their attacking potential, but
yeah,
Reece James and Alonso also, like we just saw last this game right against Leicester, like both of them, even if they considered both of them were in attacking return plus the bonus point. So I think those four plus Cancelo obviously. So those defenders can. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, despite being all these high scoring fixtures, if a defender is the highest scoring player this game because there are quite a lot. I mean, Reece James, the way Chelsea play, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea get say 5 goals. I can definitely see him being involved in two of them. So because most of their attacks which end up in a goal, Reece James is involved one way or the other.
And one thing I noticed yesterday, positioning wise, now Tuchel has changed the way Reece James is playing. He's playing, a bit towards inside, right? He's earlier he used to play completely towards sides outside, so it was his crosses that could give you assist. But yesterday he was constantly, playing in the central areas, almost like a midfielder. He was playing as RCM, and in the second half, I saw him move to the other side, and he was playing as a LCM, beside Alonso itself. So very interesting positions, and definitely, if you don't have Reece James, I would really consider, getting him in. And if you have him, he also has, very strong differential captain vibes.
It's either 2-1 or 21 in James' case. Yeah. So, uh,
I mean, that's the ideal player for 38, right? Game week 38.
yes, yes.
If it's 0 or 1, you just don't log into Twitter. If it's 20, then you're stay
When
logged
the,
in for next couple of
yeah,
days.
when the game relaunches next season, you come back and see what rank you got to free. Yeah, I think for us it's the case. For Sankalp, it's not the case. He'll obviously have to go back and check. I can just write it off. Yeah. Yes. Any thoughts on like Ericsson or Visa? Of course, we'll talk a little bit more differentials, but any low-owned players outside the popular ones that you guys have had thoughts
So,
of getting 38?
quick note on the defenders. Sessignon, I mean, if you are
Yeah.
doing a transfers and you need some enabler, I think he's really good shout, just 4.3. It's not necessarily about the player. Oh, you have it in the differential, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll
no,
talk
no,
about.
it's-
But it's not about the player, but that position. What Spurs play usually, like whoever plays in that position, he seems to get on a lot of chances because Kane usually drops deep and look for that corner. And if Son is inside, then definitely there is a chance that one of Sessignon or Regulan, whoever is playing, they get on the end of the chances. So he might be in for a surprise haul there, and at his price, definitely it can be something. If you have to upgrade your forward to a Vardy or Lukaku, and if you need to downgrade some defender, then that can be a good shout. So yeah, I mean, looking at these differential picks, yeah, I think these are all uh, really good picks. Diaz, I mean, Mane and Diaz, I would really, if I was at a point where I can chase a league, they're like 10 or 15 points to chase, I would definitely target one of those two. But unfortunately, the leagues that I want to target are like maybe 25, 30 points ahead. So I probably have to think about getting and captaining Sessignon or something like that.
Well, I think Surya again is having some network issues there. But for me, I think there were like two players I just felt like checking their ownership. I'm just going to throw out their names. There's no stats or nothing. It's complete vibes for Game Week 38 because we have seen totally different weird things happen. One is, I would say, Anthony Ilanga. I think his ownership is just about like point 0.8 or something. I don't know. I think Sancho is back. I'm not sure. I'm not seen right. I don't think he's back,
No,
right?
no, no.
Surya?
Sancho left the training today,
Yeah,
so
early, right? Jones and Sancho, yeah. So
Johnson
just
Sancho. So
Ilanga maybe, and another player is from Leeds. I would say maybe Jack Harrison. Just two names that just came to my mind, like as real picks who are under 2% or something. Because for
Yeah.
Leeds, it's all or nothing, so they
I
have
mean,
to
the
play.
drop off Rafinha, right? It's a kind of a story. He is playing wing backs. He's not looking involved. I mean, it's
yeah,
really weird. Like a player like Rafinha, you would think any manager would use him as a tool to get out of relegation zone. And the moment new manager came in, it's like he has become just one of those average players, which is not the case.
yeah,
He's clearly
yes.
the better player,
And
standard player from their team.
Or probably he made up his mind. He's leaving anyways if they stay or they
yeah,
go.
maybe he's at the
So
beach,
I
or
really switched off.
maybe I don't know, because Leeds never utilized Gelhardt. He was expected to start when Jesse March took over, and like last week was the first time he started. He got an assist. Basically, he's given Leeds hopes of survival. I think he starts this game. A couple of free drafts that I did, I put Gelhardt in because he was 4.7 million, and basically he's the only hope. Bamford might be in the bench from what Jesse March said today. Leeds have been weird because Jesse
I
I
think
think
Surya's
he
having some
froze up
network
again.
problems.
One player that one
March
difference that
hasn't
I'm
got anything
considering
good out of this.
is Barnes. So Leicester, I think he didn't start last game, and against Chelsea, I think they probably wanted to keep it little tight, so Barnes was benched. So I think Barnes gets a start. for this last game, and Southampton fixture kind of suits him. He'll get probably more space. So I think because I don't own Madison, if I go for one of any Leicester midfielder, I think I might go Barnes over Madison. One thing, because obviously he will be a lot more differential, and plus he Southampton game seems little bit more suitable to Barnes
Yes,
from what I see. So yeah, that can also be an option.
yes. I think Madison might be benched. Maybe it's Rogers has been very tough to predict. So, but Barnes has a really good chance of starting, and like Shiva said, the, the Southampton fixture is like kind of more suited for Barnes, I would say. I started the season with Barnes, and it went horrible. So,
Yeah, he has been erratic player, right? So that's
yes,
why
yes,
you should probably only think of buying him when it's the last game week. You don't
the
need
last.
want to see him
Then
too
you're
much.
done. You basically close the window.
Yeah, so
Done.
I
You
started with
don't
him
so that you
instead of
don't think of transferring him out again.
yeah
He's out permanently.
out permanently. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Actually, one more player, both differential and enabler. You guys still think NKTI is a first choice? Because I'm thinking of downgrading Richarlison to get some cash for a good midfielder, and I'm thinking downgrading Richarlison to NKTI. But again, like uh, I don't know
He
if you
starts.
have any close what Arsenal fans think about it. Like if their recent form maybe make them think, okay, Lacazette should move back in. But do you
He
think
starts.
NKTI is still first choice?
He starts. The reason is, we are still, trying to retain him, trying to
Yeah,
get him sign a contract. And the major reason for him to move out is, the lack of
minutes.
matches.
Mm.
So he's been given a free run now. And unfortunately, we don't have, I don't think we'll have Champions League anymore. But if we had Champions League and given the kind of starts we had, I think he would have been much closer to sign now. Now, without Champions League, I'm not sure, but he starts, that's for sure.
Yeah, I
I
think
think to speak about one thing about Arsenal is that when the season started, right, they had no European football, and with few of the Arsenal fans that I spoke at the start, they had, I would say, no expectations in terms of Champions League football, but to finish in a spot that gets them any European competition is what they were looking at based on their squad strength and the quality of players they had. So the start was bad for Arsenal. Midway it started to catch up. Then they performed well. Then they overperformed a bit. Now we are having the fall at the wrong time
yeah.
where expectations surpassed, right? All of a sudden from nothing it went to oh Champions League football. Yes, yes, yes. And then now like oh no Champions League. But you didn't expect that in the first place, right? You wanted one European competition, you got things rebuilt step by step,
Mm.
and it's going in the right direction. Not unlike United, where we sacked managers one by one. And I think I saw Mourinho say something. United managers at the moment are not expected to win trophies. This is
Mhm.
what I think he said, sort of.
Yeah,
Look,
I think like what Arteta's done so far this season has been phenomenal because with limited resources, I think the reason missing out on Champions League football is basically the difference, like losing Tierney, Tomiyasu has been injured a lot.
Party. Thomas Party.
Yeah, I mean, in general, leaders, right? So I would think it's okay about losing a game. Anybody can lose a game of football, but if you are playing one of the most important game of the season, and team like Newcastle, obviously a good team on in a good form, but not like a world beaters, and they don't even get a chance. Like Arsenal were nowhere in the game. That is not acceptable. I mean, if you have like strong characters in the team, they would do something, like even a strong tackle, get the crowd behind them, or get some other players trigger or something like that. But I didn't see anything. That game was like okay, it was just a normal game for Arsenal, and they just couldn't cope up with Newcastle pressing, and that's all. Basically, there is no doesn't seem to be any plan B. Obviously, what Arteta has done this season is remarkable, and as Aditya you said it rightly, like he kind of set the expectations probably too high, and that's why it feels like it's a failure for Arsenal. But I'm pretty sure, like if Arsenal fans were given the fifth finish and given this close, going this close to the top four, I think they would have taken it. So I think they need a couple of good signings in terms of characters in the team, right? And I think that maybe it might come from a player like Party, but he's always injured, right? So it doesn't help.
Nice.
So,
I think
but
an
yeah, I mean,
experienced striker for Arsenal could do a lot of good, like someone who's in the prime, like say 25, 26, known to have some leadership qualities, should orchestrate that attack because most of the attackers are even younger than me, like 21, 22, ESR, Saka, not pointing out that I'm young. So, yes. So, yeah. I just read a comment time to get Geo in UK. Uh, yes, my Wi-Fi has been very bad. The weather has been very bad today. So, maybe it's because of that. Yeah. Yes.
So I think differentials, you've kind of spoken a bit, right? I think we've covered most of these players. I mean, Welbeck and all we spoke, Lukaku, Gerard Bowen, it's the West Ham game against Brighton, Sessegnon from Spurs, Mane, Diaz, and then Callum Wilson. So I think kind of covered up. I think there'll be a differential blog, I think, which will be up soon, so you can check it out. And I think now we'll move on to free hit drafts. So some of them are from the blog, and I think one of them is my draft. So I think Surya, you can maybe take over.
Yeah, I think it's like we can quickly run through this. Basically, what we have spoken so far. In terms of Chelsea, I feel it could be James, Alonso, and Mount as a triple. Sessegnon, as Shiva said, is a very good enabler. I think Ben Krellin posted like yesterday or day before yesterday. His XA is like he has an XA of 2.31 in the last 5 games. It's like up with midfielders and forwards. So he has those attacking numbers and he's crossing as well pretty good. So Sessegnon is a very good enabler. Like the rest, Gerhard, I feel starts so that enables you to have Son, Kane, Vardy, and KDB. This is one draft that I really like, but of course there is no Liverpool car. It again boils down to, do you need KDB or do you need Mane, or remove Mount, get someone like Diaz at the same price for 8.3 million. So this is one draft that I really like. Anything that you would change your Sun Club to this? Yeah.
and at the end of the day, personally, all we can put up a draft where we predict the fixtures, right? Like so, and as I'm predicting a narrow win for Man City, I'm just thinking maybe even getting De Bruyne down to maybe a Leicester midfielder might get you cash to upgrade Gelhardt. So that would one change that I would be looking to make. I would definitely have one of Trent and Robbo. Um, just because they can haul pretty big. Plus the ownerships. Obviously, it depends. Like if you are going high risk, high reward kind of a scenario, then obviously you can see going without them. But Wolves, especially a team like they don't look like scoring. They're in a bad place. There are question marks about managers. So I think Liverpool are keeping clean sheet in this game. So I would definitely have one of those two. I mean, I was trying to make a draft of free hit. I actually thought of going with five at the back, with all the high performance or high reward or high upside defenders. But in game week 38, it doesn't feel right. You have a free hit chip and you're going with 5 defender. It just doesn't feel right. So yeah, I can understand that. So maybe I would change Sessegnon then, because he probably is the good choice when you are making the use of money elsewhere. So if you can bring De Bruyne down to say Madison or say Barnes, then you can upgrade session in that area as well. So a keeper, I would definitely go somebody else apart from Pickford, because I don't know how many beers he'll have would have had last night, and he will play definitely. But I would keeper. I think I would go for Pope. I mean,
Yeah.
yesterday, if you guys might have,
Oh, yeah.
he was brilliant and he made a lot of good saves.
Yeah.
And Newcastle, obviously, they have been good, but if Burnley decide to park the bus, if they get a goal from somewhere and they decide to park the bus, or it's a nil-nil at half time and draw is enough to get them through, you might see Burnley parking the bus and Pope might get a also. I probably would go with the Pope on the free hit.
Yep. I think
Ah,
those are all valid points. I think just after you said about Pickford, I am realizing Pickford is is a decent but not so great option. Pope should do well, definitely. And yesterday, I think he got 8 points, even without a clean sheet. That pretty much says how much saves he's made. Yeah.
So much disrespect for Arsenal there, choosing Pickford.
I think Sankalp will forgive me there. Yes.
So for me, I agree with Siva. Liverpool defense seems a sure shot. Want to go for. Especially, I think I won't go with someone like Laporte because I feel this might not be a game which will be 3-0, 2-0 kind of game. I think it has a 2-1, 3-1 kind of vibes for me. But Liverpool have done really well at the back. I have personally done a double of Robo and Matip for the last 10 weeks, and it has worked wonders for me. So even if you don't have the money for Robo, I will take someone like Matip, which actually saves you a bit of money from Laporte, and invest say to upgrade Pickford, right? So that's something I'll really do. I don't know if someone has money, but if I'm taking someone at the back, I would rather take Mendy, I guess. Watford, I
Hmm.
don't feel will score, but again depends, right? Mount, Alonso, and James is the perfect three players combo that you can have. So in case you're
Yes.
not having Mount, maybe then you can go for someone like Mendy, because I feel that's where you will get a clean sheet for sure. Ederson is a bit expensive, else that could have been a place to go for. Up front, like I said, I kind of would like to go for Eddie. I feel that this game is the kind of game where someone like Eddie can score, and again he's still cheap, so you might be able to find money for him. In the middle, everything looks good. If you have someone like Mount, maybe you cannot go for someone like Madison. But again, depending on the kind of combinations you're going for, be it Madison or Barnes, I think like we discussed, these are can be very good options. And someone like Visa, right? I think
Yes.
Visa is someone I'm really thinking of now that I've started discussing with you guys. I think that game has a sort of vibes which will be a bit of high scoring match, and a low ownership squad to choose from. So I definitely go for someone like Visa. If I cannot play him, I would definitely keep him first on the bench and hope someone drops out while he scores.
Yeah, actually, that is a good point. Also on the keepers, if you're on a free hit, I would definitely advise to have another playing keeper, because this is the game, where you can easily see Tuchel might want to, give Kepa a game, and
Yeah.
that
Yes.
happens. These kind of things
Valid.
happen in game week 38. So obviously, if you're a free hit, definitely you have to keep at least keeper plus two of your bench players as a starting players, right?
Hmm. Yes. That's a good shout. Yeah, I'll just quickly skim through pretty much different free drafts that we've put together. I think we've talked enough in one spot. I think let's all skip if you agree. Yeah, fine. Okay,
Yeah,
sounds
I
good.
think we have discussed almost all the
Yeah,
options.
yes. Okay. Captaincy. So a lot of people asking about the metrics. So I've still not done the numbers. AK is not. But yeah, we can have a general discussion. And I thought I'll do the numbers and come, but I did. So apologies for that. Um, One thing that I could give a small detail out is that Son and Kane are pretty much at the same projection. The other tables wouldn't change. And Kane has a better XG than Son. So, regardless of the other players, it will be Kane above Son in this week's metric. So, that's just one thing that I want to tell that I can quickly uh, tell about how the metrics work. So, it has to be one of the Spurs duo, I feel. Personally, I would do one of them. Uh, KDB, Vardy, Mount could also be decent shouts, but I want to hear from Sankla on like what was his thought. Yeah.
Uh, I'm thinking of a striker this week. Be it Vardy, be it someone like Lukaku or Ronaldo.
Mm.
Lukaku and Vardy for me, I think are the top two choices for this week. If you're thinking differential, when it comes to Son and Kane, I normally look at whether the opposition is an attacking team or not. If I feel it's attacking team, I normally go for Son because I
Son.
know there are spaces which will
Mhm.
get created, and this is the guy who scores, right? And of course, being a midfielder helps. So my tendency in such matches is normally to go for Sun. But if you give me, today, if you ask me to choose a captain, I think I'll go for Vardy because he's the safest pick. I know he starts, and the team against he's playing at home to Southampton. It feels like a good differential pick to go for.
I think it's been a while Southampton considered 9 goals, so I think they're due.
Yes, someone had to say that, and it was true. Yes, yeah. I think yes, KDB has this decent record of finishing on a high because I remember 2 seasons back I was on a free hit in Gameweek 38. The whole talk was about David Silva and like him playing and like him taking all the corners, penalties and stuff. KDB hauled 19 points that day, and I stupidly thought Silva would cover for KDB, and my free hit blew away. So KDB is a good shot, but yeah, but Villa are a decent team, so it shouldn't be more than a 3 goal margin. Like, yeah, but I can't wrap my head outside of Son or Kane. That is probably because everybody's been talking about that. But yeah, so I feel like it's gonna be Kane for me. But I'll see the numbers on metrics as well. Yeah, sure. Like your thoughts?
So, I mean, disclosure from my side right now is like, at this point, if I have to fix my lock in my team, I would captain Mount, and I already have Son and Kane both, and the reason is like, either of them, even if I captain them, it's not going to make much of a ground. And at this point, at my rank, even if I end up finishing 20k or 40k, it's not making much of a difference anyway. I've lost on top 10k now, which was my target. So that's why I am thinking of going Mount. Only thing is, obviously, he didn't start in midweek. He is likely to start. But what you don't want is, get some player in, captain him, and him not starting.
Yes,
Son and Kane give you that little bit more advantage of knowing that they're 100% going to start the game. And it all depends. Like, if I get a confirmed news that okay, Mount is playing, or say Vardy is playing, I think we'll get some news on Leicester for sure.
yes,
Then I would not go for Son and Kane. But if there are like conflicting rumors around the deadlines, like okay, Mount is not starting, there are a lot of youngsters in Chelsea lineup, or Leicester lineup is already out and Vardy is not there, then probably I'll go with one of Son and Kane. Apart from these mentioned, I really think Mane, if you are thinking of getting a differential, he is a great shout. He is likely to play 90 minutes as well, I feel, because if Salah is given some time to play, there will be one substitution used on him, plus usually one of Jota usually gets subbed off. So I think like Mane will definitely get closer to 90. And you never know, like he might be even on penalties depending on who starts in the midfield. So yeah, I mean, Mane also is a great shout. Again, coming back to defenders, I keep supporting defenders in probably one of the most highest scoring game weeks. But
James.
James and Alonso, I would definitely not hesitate to getting. So taking a punt on someone like, say, Madison, or even Vardy for per se, there's not much difference, having punt someone like James. If you look at his attacking numbers, how much he's involved in, it's just like a mental state of our mind. Okay, he's a defender. It just takes one mistake to wipe out the clean sheet. But even if the clean sheet was wiped out just because of one assist, James gave like 8-pointer the other day, and like that's good enough, right? So, and if he keeps a clean sheet, the ceiling is obviously high. So definitely, I mean, James, Alonso, obviously, everybody has Cancelo, but Cancelo also is not a bad choice considering that I don't see Villa scoring in that game.
Yes. Yeah, and I think Stones Walker coming back is also a good point. I shied away from Cancelo for a bit from captaincy.
So yeah, those are the good shots. The captaincy is going to be widespread this week. So yeah,
because of course if Fernandino starts there, I think we'll see. Yeah, yes. I think quickly moving on, like the last section, we'll just go through all of common questions. Captains is what we spoke. Ultra differentials, like if it was for me 3 ultra differential, I don't know what what defines ultra differential here. But let's say less than 1%. I'll say Visa, Ericsson, Sessignon,
Castagna.
Castan has played 6 games on the trot, so all these are really good options. Anything else that? Oh, Mount and Kane or Son and Wadi. Oh, that is mightily close to answer. I'm sure whatever spewed out of my mouth.
I would go Son and Vardy and Captain Vardy.
Yeah,
I'll do the same.
yes, that's what I was expecting someone to answer it.
Sell Salah or not, right? That's a really tough question, right?
Yeah, I think I would sell. I have Salah, and I'm looking to sell. But I would wait till at least 30 minutes before and see if he's confirmed. Just the confirmation bias that he doesn't start.
So he's already in training today, right?
Yeah,
The news is
yeah.
he's training, so he's going to get involved. There's a good chance that he might start. So at the end of the day, that money where you are using is important. Right? He will never play 90 minutes. That is the advantage, and he's not on form.
Yeah, he's not on form. Yeah. His XG, I think, like in the last 6, it's become like less than 2. For the first time this season, I've seen a 6-game XG drop less than 2. That says a lot. Mahrez, good choice as a captain. I wouldn't say having him is in itself a big trauma. Or if he returns, yeah. Yes. Will Trent play? I surely feel Trent plays. He was rested fully. Selling Havertz, who to buy? Mount, Madison, or Bowen? I think I would. I think I'd keep Havertz. Yeah. Yes. Your thoughts, guys?
Yeah,
even I have Havertz. I'm not selling him.
Even if he plays like 20 minutes, like against Watford, you would still fancy him to get something.
I would sell for Mount. I would sell. I know it's a lateral move, it's a sideways move, but this is a player that you know going to start versus a player that you're not sure going to start. Plus, Mount traditionally scores well against bottom teams. I would do that. Beat Mount, beat Madison. I would do that. We always have hopes on Havertz for this entire season, and he keeps disappointing. Right, the potential is obviously high, but that surety I feel is much more there when it comes to Mount and Madison. I would go there.
My entire season run down from like 1 million in the game week 1 to close to top 1,000 is based on 3 players: buying, selling, and holding these players at the wrong time. Havertz, Salah, and Son.
Yeah, I know. I even before you said, I knew the 3 because it's been very harsh. These three.
If
players.
Shiva, if you knew these answers, you would have won FPL.
Everybody can say that, right?
Yes.
Can't help
Yeah, like another one, like plan A, Mount and Wadi in for Salah and Vegas. Plan B is Mountain Madison in for Salah and Ramsey.
A looks better,
Plan A,
to
I
be
think.
honest.
Yeah, I think A. Yeah, I would definitely say A. Yes.
Name.
Yeah. No, Aditya, can I pin the next one? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Zaha to Mountain. Oh.
I think
Is
this
he
one
or yeah, okay.
Coutinho
to Mount because Zaha still has.
Yeah. Zaha is playing against United. He'll do step overs from outside the box and a deflected shot will go in.
Now you even know how he's going to score. Not just that he's going to score, you also know how he's going to score.
Yes. Technically, when you have fans supporting the player that's playing against them, they wouldn't suggest, but here 3 of us suggest Zaha.
It's the same even Sankalp was talking. Like he has no expectations of Arsenal against Everton. Like we are in the same group but different teams.
No, he's at least slightly optimistic. Yours and our level of optimism is.
We have seen this season going from every year we start the season, we are winning the league with what we don't know. Then we get a reality check every time.
Yeah.
Then next season
I still
we'll do
remember,
something.
United Twitter put out a tweet when we won the first game against Leeds. Like Bruno scored a hat-trick. and then we are top of the league. There's a tweet that stop the count, and then pretty much
And
that comes
you
out.
forget about it that after 4 games, when Ronaldo's first game was finished, like I think we beat Newcastle, and that time I think we won first 3 out of 4 games, and we were like joined top of the table or something like that. And that time everyone thought, like now everyone can say, okay, they didn't think, but everyone thought we are in the title race, right? I mean, Ronaldo was there, Sancho was there. You could see it, and now look at the place. We want. I mean, I personally wanted United to finish eighth because not having Europe at all would really help the rebuild
Yes,
season.
exactly.
But
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I mean, what a
Yeah,
turnaround!
I agree. I
I think
exactly agree with it.
credits to the team. They tried their best not to qualify, but
They tried their best not to qualify, but if others drop points, what will you do? Can't help, right?
I think Wolves also tried the same, and they won in the end.
So we see. I mean, Man United is just like no words. uh,
I think if there is one more question: is it worth -4 to bring in Vardy or Kane at the expense of James or Trent? No,
no.
I wouldn't.
To take
Same.
out Richarlison, is this followed up? I
You
think to
need
that.
you need to find some other way. If you have Salah, KDB, anyone, I would rather keep Trent and James. Unless you get a news that James is not starting. Trent will start.
Okay, we'll have to wait. I don't know what's. Are there any other questions? Is what I'm just taking a quick look at. Mm, can't seem to find the questions. I think wait, he's back. Okay, Surya is back.
Yes, sorry guys, sorry. I really sorry
I
about
think
that.
I've discussed most of them one way or the other. So,
Yeah.
mm,
There's this one comment that FPL Sweeney, Aditya.
Yeah, we
Oh, you spoke
answered
to
that.
this. Uh,
yeah, so we already talked, but I think it has been asked a few more times. So we'll just can cover quickly. Who to captain if chasing a mini league? So if you're really have that kind of budget, or if you have Salah, going to Mane and captaining him is a really good shout if you are chasing. Plus, if you get a news of any of Lukaku or Havertz confirmed starting, I think those two also can be good shouts. Plus, I think Vardy will be a little bit more on, so it really depends like how your mini league rival is doing. But yeah, I mean those are the players I came to. Obviously, I wouldn't captain any of Son or Kane if you are chasing mini league. Basically, there is no point.
no point. Yeah. Even James, if he's confirmed to start,
Mm.
yeah, it's a good captaincy shout if you're chasing. Yes. I think, yeah. Any other questions? If someone puts in, otherwise we'll close the day.
I think meanwhile we had a segment of predictions, if I am
Ah,
correct.
yes. Yeah, correct.
So that's up now.
Yes. That's.
I'm going to predict that I'm going to get a red arrow.
Sure,
I
that is pretty much known considering how the season has went. So this is only for Premier League players. So yeah, it's the teams. So Sankalp gave this idea of let's predict and let's probably when
Yeah,
the
this
day
will
ends.
be fun. And
Yeah,
after the games are over, maybe we can post
yeah,
this.
reshare this. Yeah, I'm gonna quote this. Yes. Okay, I'll tell you. Do the honors. You go first. Yeah.
I think title winner I think is Man City, no doubt about it. When against the game against West Ham when they were 2-0 down, I I actually stepped outside to just see the score, and my brother was looking at me and saying, City are losing. Oh my god. And Liverpool fans were exploding at one end, as if they have just won or about to win. I just told one thing. If City are a champion side and they have that mentality, they'll take the draw and they'll go from here. They did that. They must have got a nice firing from Pep halftime. He must have done his in the board, and then they took the point. They'll win. They are
Yeah.
one step up. I think Liverpool have had a phenomenal season. If they don't win the Prem, also great job. They have the Champions League final too. They'll win four, right? So 4-3, sorry. Oh, if I made some mistakes. So it's a great season for them. So I think it's City and relegation. I think two teams are already gone. That's Norwich is gone. Bye bye. And
You just
then
have to
which is a
basically say it's Leeds or only. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, to be honest. It's so tight. I think Leeds will go down just because of that negative goal difference at the start. The season starting, I mean, last season Leeds were something people couldn't find the answer for because they were new, they had a different play style. I think that backfired this season based on how open they played. And conceding those goals has led to the negative goal difference, and that is probably going to cost them. But you can't blame their coach at such a short. I've been hearing rumors that he'll be sacked, which is like
It
astonishing.
looks like, I mean, they're like nowhere, right? They're not. What kind of football they play? I don't know. Like, are they
there's no
attacking? Are they
identity.
defensive? Are they narrow? Are they wide? I don't know. I mean, Rafinha playing wing back doesn't make any sense. Obviously, Rafinha will be sold, so their team entirely will look different.
Yes. On the flip side, Burnley have suddenly got an identity. Like, of course, letting Sean Dyche go was maybe a bad decision, but the interim manager is filled, Mike Jackson is filled in really well because they have this organization now. Like even yesterday's game, they played really well. So okay, I'll just tell of my prediction. So it's City for me. I cannot take a heart that would say Liverpool will win a league. So that's probably the reason. For relegation, I think Burnley will survive and Leeds go down because from what I've seen from Burnley play so far in the last few games, yeah.
I think that is like looks like that is a odds-on prediction, right? Like City to win the league and Leeds to go down. So maybe it's more of a question like
Yeah.
what
Right.
what
Makes sense.
upset do we expect? Whether is it more likely for Liverpool to win the league or maybe to Burnley to go down? That's probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think it might sound weird. Okay, obviously,
Yeah.
if Liverpool win it, they will deserve it. But it will. It wouldn't look fair if Liverpool win the league like this, right? I mean, all season,
Yeah.
Man City have been at the top of the league, and obviously, it doesn't make any sense. Liverpool will be the deserving winners, but it would feel weird. Like entire of all of the season, we are thinking, okay, City will be the champions. City will be the champions, and okay, one sudden draw, and Liverpool are champions. It would
Yeah,
really feel
I
weird.
think that's what the impact Diaz has had on that team because I think without him, Liverpool wouldn't be in a
Yeah.
position going into game week 38, having still a chance. Because against Villarreal, I think none of the traditional Liverpool first line had a sniff at that tactics, and then that guy comes in and he literally changed the dynamics of the game. So credits to Liverpool for finding a talent like
But
that.
you know they signed him for a reason. They didn't want to sign him in January. They wanted to sign him in the summer. But
Yeah,
because Tottenham made an inquiry in January, that's why they
yeah.
had to sign him.
It's like Spurs did all the hard work bargaining. Liverpool came. Thank you.
Yes. Agree on that. Yeah. Yes. Mm.
Okay, so I mean to get prediction, obviously I also predict City to win and Leeds to go down.
Mhm. I I expect Sankalp tell different. At least I hope. Yeah.
No, I don't see, Liverpool Leeds getting any points out of the match. That is the problem. I see a loss here, and I expect Burnley to be, rigid to, chalk out a draw,
Yes. Yeah.
1-1 kind of game, right? They
Yeah.
will be very strong at the back and they'll just chalk out
Yes.
as a draw. The fact that Leeds are forced to go for a, strong win is the reason
Mhm.
that I feel Leeds will lose.
Yeah.
Whenever Leeds are put into a position where they go all out attack, they really leave back a lot of spaces.
Lot of space.
I don't think the manager will be sacked. I think they have got a good manager. He came into a very difficult time, and on top of it, they also have had a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
So
Injuries.
I think they will go back to the championship and retry. They have got wealthy owners again, so money is not a problem. They will come back sooner, but it's very difficult. I would love for Leeds to stay. Of the two teams, I would really like if Leeds stays back,
Mm.
but you never know. If
Yeah.
something, they set up really well. But Thomas Frank has been such a astute manager, right? It is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
For them to win, their manager has to outthink Thomas Frank. That is how it
Yeah.
has to.
And I don't think that happens. Yeah. Yes.
I just realized we are underestimate, or I don't know, maybe we are overestimating content Spurs, but we are not even talking about top four predictions. So there is no
Yeah,
way that Arsenal can finish top four. I mean,
Spurs, but
obviously, that's
Spurs
That's the
could do
reason I
Spurs.
didn't
No,
suggest this. I
Yeah.
don't want to talk
No,
about it.
I really wanted to talk about this. Nice point, Shiva. We actually the fourth position is has
Still there.
more.
Yeah. Technically
Yeah,
still there. Yeah. It's not.
either Spurs could do Spurs and Arsenal go,
Yeah.
or it stays the same way.
No,
But
because Pookie is someone that's capable of scoring goals against good teams. So that is still, I wouldn't write Norwich off as well.
Yeah.
Shiva pointed out saying it's a home game. The last time they play in the Premier League for a while, you don't know when they'll be coming back. So yeah,
But because draw, in terms of draw and lose, right? So the reason, so if I have to say, there is more chance of City losing the title than Spurs losing on the fourth spot, because draw is not enough for City, right? May
yeah,
not be enough for City, but draw is enough for Spurs. And you can always have a situation, you can nick a penalty, you can nick a goal from corner, and just hold out for a draw. But win is something like City have to be at their best. So that's why I don't see Tottenham, especially with Conte in charge. I mean, he will literally shoot players if if they don't end up.
If if there was a situation where Spurs drew and we won and we would have been through, and Spurs would have had to attack, and Norwich could sit back and counter. In
Yeah,
that situation, I feel we would have
exactly.
got a good chance. But the fact that Spurs just don't have to lose, right? I think
yeah,
that works in their favor. So they'll sit back happily. They'll let Norwich, come out all fires, and then you have players like Kane dropping off, Son and the other winger, just running across, and someone will pick up and score. So I
yeah,
expect a lot of sucker punches coming from Tottenham, and
mm,
a very very simple 2-0 sort of game, or 1-0 2-0 sort of game from Spurs.
yeah. But again, credits to Conte as well. Like when he took over, that team was absolutely a horrible mess. They made a Ole's United team look good because that was the last game Nuno had, and
I had captained Ronaldo
Ronaldo.
in that.
Can
Mm.
can
I
you
remember.
imagine United have taken 6 points of Spurs this season?
And like Spurs have taken six from City, right? Like, yeah,
this
correct.
is who's the better Robin Hood is going on there.
Yeah, so
It's like
anyways,
when we spoke in few episodes back, I told Shiva United will give points to Everton. The same happened. Everton managed to nick points even from Chelsea. So these two games, they managed to get 6 points at Goodison. Turned out to be so vital for Everton, right? At the end of the day, if you look at all these tight results, these all matter. Whereas Leeds probably I think suffered the most during this December Jan time when the COVID was at peak a bit, and then we had these restrictions of teams not playing, and probably they didn't use the rules smartly while other clubs played it. Use the loopholes,
Yeah,
to be
I
fair.
think the way Bielsa handled the team both on and off the pitch, it probably their best chance to stay up was to hold him, because after he went, basically right from fitness, right from positions, everything changed. Like there is a certain way that they played for so many years, and to change it completely, it was obviously it might be in hindsight they might still end up staying up. So never know. Yeah, I think we are almost
Yeah,
90
I
minutes.
think we have dwelled a lot on these this particular segment. I think it's probably because it's the end of the season, the last few games, and then we're done, right?
Are,
So
are
this
we going to
ends.
do retro next week?
relook at all the Harvard's Gate, colors on
Yeah,
negative variance. Yeah,
I think we'll probably have an end of season stream, probably looking at how things went on.
yeah,
Probably it's very hard to remember each and everything from every game week, but the highs and lows for each of us, I think, probably could give a common perspective for everyone. We'll probably do that and then end with some the quiz that we do every year with some numbers, because we'll have the proper numbers of all the games, and then we'll see if we can do, if people ask for that, or then if we are free and we find time, we'll probably do that. That sounds good for now. Yeah. So any closing words, guys, before we wrap up?
No, just enjoy this game week. There is not going to be FPL for next couple of months. There is no mid-season football tournament also,
mm,
fortunately. So probably last time we are going to watch Premier League or good competitive football for a couple of months. So just enjoy. I am feeling good that I am not in a position that my FPL team, is more on my mind. I'm going to be just make the decisions and just completely enjoy the football for the last 2 hours of the season. Uh, and yeah, maybe Champions League final. I hope Real Madrid win it. That's my final thought.
Yeah. Yes, I think I look forward to the break personally because I've done non-stop since last season's Euro Fantasy, so I'm just gonna go off the boil for some time, and Hollywood FPL too should take a break. We've written so long, so much. I'll have to, I might sit and reflect on the journey we've had this year. So, but it's nice to finish off with the stream like this, like few people that I dearly respect, whose opinion matters for me in running all about FPL. So, yeah, thanks for everyone that tuned in as well. We are still stuck. We're still figuring things out in terms of how we do. We every stream is an improvement for us, and probably we'll get better every time next season. Yeah.
Well, closing remarks for me, all the best to you guys. I hope you do well in the last week. And then, looking forward to the break.
Yeah. See you. Thanks, Uncle. Yeah.
Same
Bye,
to
bye,
you.
bye. Yeah. See you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep. So I actually have to record an outro. So I think that kind of brings us to the end of episode 33 of the pod or the stream. We'll hopefully see you all next week to be precise, with the pod or a stream reflecting on things and a few other things. And from then we'll go on and we'll see how things go on over the next 2 weeks in the break. 2 months to be precise, not weeks. I think everybody needs plenty of time to recharge our batteries. And yeah, I think hopefully Game Week 38 will not go according to the plan, but we'll see how things go on, and I think, hold our forts with regards to the ranks. So that's it, and we'll see you all next week.